Hey, Warrior Saints, good morning. Welcome to today's episode of our Crucifixional Life stream. Glad to have you beautiful people in with us. Welcome. You know, on Sunday, a couple of days ago, the PGA tournament was won by Phil Mickelson, the oldest major champion in golf history. So golf has 4 major championships. One of them is called the PGA. And Phil Mickelson won it at 50 years old, the oldest one ever. So not even Jack Nicklaus had won a tournament, that one of the 4 majors that old. So it was really an impressive thing. Excited for Phil. He's an Arizona boy. He lives here. We see him about town every so often. And he's kind of a nice guy. I mean, people talk bad about him, but sometimes they don't like him because I think he's really good at it. But we think he's a good guy. We're happy for him. Glad he won. It was an impressive tournament. And then I opened ESPN.com today, and this happened. Now, for those who may not be familiar with ESPN.com, the main picture stories are all right in the front, and on what you're looking at your right is a special section with the headlines, the top news. And one of the top news today was that another golfer, Brooks Koepka, is fighting with Bryson DeChambeau, another pro golfer on the tournament. And they've been having a feud going back and forth, and something happened where during a post-tournament interview with Brooks Koepka, who took second place, the other guy, Chambeau, walked behind him during the interview, threw him off. He rolled his eyes, closed his eyes, and exasperated, frustrated. And on the original interview, he cursed. And the Golf Channel didn't run that, but that footage leaked and it became a thing. And it says, like you can see in this headline, their fight is back just in time for summer. It's like the headline from a movie. It's like, Captain America in his new movie is going to destroy the forces of evil. The same tone you hear this, the fight. It's here. It's just in time for summer because we need it. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? First, why does that even matter, right? I don't understand why that even matters if two guys are having a beef, right? Let them work it out. Is it because this was headline worthy because he cursed? And I thought, well, in days gone by, athletes and people were expected to have, appropriate language. I don't think that's an issue anymore today. I mean, on primetime TV, on the big 4 networks, I mean, there's cursing and partial nudity and, sexual innuendo. I mean, the things that are appropriate have broadened, right? So it couldn't be about the cursing. So why is that even in there? And I'm like, why is that more important than 50-year-old Phil Mickelson doing what no one has ever done, winning a major? Why is it in there instead of that? I mean, there's no mention in today's top headlines about Phil Mickelson winning the PGA as the oldest player ever. Why is that in there? And it dawned on me as I read the article, because it's about fighting. And fighting sells. That's right. Fighting sells. Anger sells. What's the new hot commodity of the mainstream media and the news and all of our social media feeds and everything that we consume? Fighting. You think I'm wrong? Just look back at 2020. Look back at the COVID. Look back at the elections. Look back at the virus. Look back at the Black Lives Matter and George Floyd movements. Look back at look currently at the vaccinations. Do it, don't do it. Everything that sells, everything that gets clicks is about fighting. Everything that clicks and gets clicks and sells is about anger, right? And we have to be very cognizant of this. Look, the 9, that secret elite group of people who run the world, who steer governments, including our own, that's my conspiracy. These people, they know that if people are fighting and people are angry, that they will get the clicks and they will control us, right? Because we will start to do the things that they're asking and telling us, rather, to do. They're going to say jump and you're going to say how high. And they do so through the lure of fighting and anger. Now, God doesn't really... He's not really interested in that, right? God is not about anger. In fact, the opposite. There are times where it is certainly appropriate to be upset and to be angry. Our Lord shows us that himself when he cleanses the temple from all the money changers and the salesmen, right? But anger as a way to live, fighting as a standard MO is anti-God. It's against what the Lord is showing us to do. And you can see this in Psalm 37. So there's a beautiful verse in Psalm 37, verse 8. And here the Lord is talking about wickedness. And he says the following when he comes to anger. He says, refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Like, stay away from it. Fret not yourself, for it only tends to evil. Anger and fighting only tends towards evil. And boy, if you're like me, you felt a A lot of anger and a lot of evil surrounding us in this past 16 months or so. Maybe all through life, but especially it's really been heightened lately because of all of those things we talked about, the elections and COVID and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And so I think Warrior Saints, we've got to recognize that it's time. It's time to be warriors. We're going to enter a war. Really. I'm saying it seriously. And I don't mean that we're going to take up arms in the sense of weapons with ammunition, nor are we going to take up arms with anger to return anger and fighting to return with fighting. We have to be very different. We have to be completely different than the world. The world is telling us what? I mean, what are the 9 steering? Anger, fighting, anger, fighting, anger, fighting. We have to be warriors in a very different sense. Warriors who are willing to be crucifixional, who are willing to fight for what's true, but not through the mode of fighting, but fight for what's true through the mode of love and sacrifice. Now that comes in many forms and many different ways to do that. But if we participate in the battles of the world in the world's way, we become nothing more than the world, which, as we heard in Psalm 37, it tends towards evil. Let me say that again. Listen to that. If we engage the world in the way that the world is currently engaging, we become just another cog in the wheel, another part of the machine. We become another tool for evil, right? So how do we deal with that? We have to be warriors who engage the world in a Christ-like manner, which means to be crucifixional. It's time. It's time for us to step up. You know, I'm getting a little fed up with us Christians too, especially with all people, but Christians especially, for being whiny about, oh, it's so terrible. And I'm guilty of it too. I call out all the terrible things. But you know what? We can whine and complain about how terrible it is, or we can do something about it. And I say, and I'm telling myself as well, it's time to stand up and do something about it. Like, let's leave the whining aside. Whine for like 30 seconds, just to get it out of your system, pop the pimple, get the funk out. Okay, fine. And then let's get back into action and start to take control of our lives and engage this battle in a Christ-like way. We are going to show you how to do that. If you want to be the very best that you can be and to be truly a warrior saint, one who engages the world, not as the world wants us to, but as Christ has asked us to, according to the commandments of God, according to the will of God, to be the ones that God has called us to be. And I know you want that. It's in your heart. That's why you spend the time to watch me rambling every day. If you want that, you join us. We are leading that charge and leading that fight, and we're offering a plan on how to be crucifixional in your lives. That's what we do. And we are looking for like-minded men, women, young boys, young girls, old people, young people, all people. We're looking for everybody that wants to join this movement, to be with us. And let's make a dent in the fighting and the anger of the world. Let's flip the world upside down with love, compassion, strength, but not fighting. Let's do it differently, and let's make that impact that the world needs. Join us at warriorsaints.org. Subscribe to the Way of the Warrior Saint, and let's get some. Last little plug, don't forget, get your book, warriorsaints.org/book. You can find it there. It's doing great. We've gotten some great news and great reviews, and I'm thankful to all of you who have supported us. We love you. Share it. Let's get this message out. I keep saying it every day. Share, share, share. The forces of the 9 try to keep us locked into a little bubble. The algorithms of Facebook and YouTube and all that kind of stuff and Google, they don't want big, Christians making big noise. Let's make big noise. Let's make big noise. Share us. Help us. We appreciate you. warriorsaints.org. Let's get on the way of the Warrior Saint. Love you, beautiful people. Until tomorrow, keep walking on the way of the Warrior Saint.